Hey everybody, Jason Lavigny here, your investor coach. So I wanted to address a couple of phone calls that I received over the last couple of days, and I want to specifically address what's happening in the banking sector. So just recently, as of yesterday actually, the Federal Reserve hiked the banking overnight lending rate, or federal funds rate, by 25 basis points, or 1/4%. But I specifically want to address what is happening with the banks. So I don't know if any of you watched the congressional testimony. Our Treasury Secretary, the Honorable Janet Yellen, testified before Congress and was asked a question about would she guarantee the deposits in every bank around the country. And I'm going to paraphrase here, and her answer basically was, well, we would back the deposits of banks that could cause what we call a contagion effect. If there was some contagion effect that would spread throughout the system, then those deposits would be guaranteed. But as far as all of the banks are concerned, there was a lot of gray area in that. And those comments have directly led, and this is in my opinion, but those comments have directly led to a lot of uncertainty in the market, and rightfully so. You know, if you had your money in a bank in Wichita, Kansas, and you were very uncertain, it was a regional bank, and you were uncertain whether, your deposits were going to be backed versus, let's say, one of the bigger banks too big to fail, like a JP Morgan or a Bank of America or a Citigroup, then maybe you'd be more inclined to move your assets or your deposits to that bank. It's really that simple. So, that's creating, again, a lot of uncertainty, and you're seeing the market seesaw, 500 points down one day, up 400 points the next day. And so you're probably going to see that over at least the foreseeable future. Now, again, we don't prognosticate or we don't forecast from this office, but, from kind of the 35,000 foot view, that's kind of what we're seeing. I was also asked to explain how the FDIC insurance works. So basically, if you have money in the bank, you are insured up to a $250,000 threshold. Now, there's a couple of accounts you could have. You could have an individual account, you could have a joint account, you could have a trust account, and each of those could be insured up to that $250,000 threshold. Also, you could have those same accounts titled in another bank that would secure another $250,000. Now, for the individual person, okay, or someone with, a modest amount of wealth, you don't need to have your money in, 10 different banks. But when you look at a company who is trying to make payroll, it really doesn't make sense to have $10 million, okay? Logistically, it would be very difficult to have that in 20 or 30 different banks. So this is why you can see the conundrum for some of these companies when they have a lot of money that may not necessarily be insured over that $250,000 threshold, okay? And I know some of this is a little difficult to understand at times, and we're going through a very interesting time now, and it's been difficult. I acknowledge that the last year and a half, 2 years have been extremely difficult, right? We went through COVID, and as a result of all the spending, that's created very high inflation, and we're all feeling that. Gas prices, grocery prices, and now the banking crisis, and now maybe a recession. So I know it's a lot to take, but here's what you need to do. You can't give up hope, and what you really need to do now is stay the course. This is ever more important, and the rate hikes, from what I'm seeing or hearing, we may have one more rate increase, and then we may start to actually drop rates. And this is why it's so critically important that your portfolio is set up not to pick the best stocks, not to find the best managers, and certainly not to time in and out of the market. And your portfolio doesn't rely on a prediction or forecast to work. That's the great news. But if you need additional coaching, give our office a call and stay close to our emails when we send emails in these videos. Our clients have given us some great feedback and saying, hey, they're really helping us. So we are committed to your financial education. We are a stand for you and your family, and we're going to continue to be a stand for you and your family. We're not going to abandon you. We're going to be here with you every step of the way, and we're going to get you through any market storm that comes our way. So any questions, 610-438-0988. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.